Jazzcast Pros.
In today's episode, Nadia discusses tackling chronic high blood pressure, having her heart stopped as part of the healing process, to unleashing her inner warrior. Tune in as we have a discussion on navigating the medical system and advocating for yourself. Welcome to Fearless Fridays with Maryann, the podcast to help you get unstuck, heal your inner child, and reshape your future. I am your host, Maryann Rivera-Dannert, and with over 10 years of experience as a coach, author, speaker, and owner of MRD Empowerment Solutions, I use my personal life experience with trauma, healing, and rediscovery as a catalyst for personal growth. My mission is to empower women like you to discover and unlock your full potential, paving the way to a life marked by freedom and balance. Together, we'll tackle the tough stuff and find the strength within to rise above. Let's get started. Today we have the wonderful visionary behind the newly released anthology. So without further ado, let's bring her on.
Good evening, Maryann. Thank you so much for having me. I am Nadia Monsano, and the name of my company is called My Sister Keeper. It is a branding, marketing, and graphic design agency. And I recently became a visionary to our beautiful anthology that we are in together.
So can you share your inspiration and motivation behind the anthology project and why that name?
Of course. So the entire name of the anthology is The Beautiful Face of the Invisible Illness, Masking the Pain We Endure. I came up with that title because working with so many of my clients, sometimes they would, of course, have to miss an appointment. And when they come back to me, they would say, I had a flare up of my asthma, or my multiple sclerosis kicked in and I couldn't get to, meet with you. And when they told me that, I was like, you have MS, you have lupus, like they do not look like what they are going through on a daily basis. And I knew for myself that of the medical challenges that I have myself. And then I realized there was not really a book out there talking about going through challenges of things that go on with you medically, right? We all have the self-help books. We have the woman empowerment books, right? But do we really have the book as far as going through an illness on a day-to-day basis? So that's what encouraged me to get this anthology started.
I love that. And I cannot wait for it to come out because it's definitely going to be very impactful. So what is your invisible illness?
So I suffer with chronic high blood pressure to the point of some days, medication is what is getting me outside of the bed, because obviously, blood pressure, it is a silent killer, like it can cause strokes and things of that nature. So I have to be extremely careful, especially when my numbers get really high. 200 over 180, and you have no idea because I'm masking that pain through, just showing up and smiling online. But truly, when I get off from online and I close my bedroom door, ooh-wee.
Were there some symptoms that you were experiencing that led for you to seek medical attention?
In my story, I talk about actually my numbers going so high that it was actually causing a stroke to happen, like left side of my face feeling very numb. And my heart was racing really, really fast. And I thought maybe it's a panic attack or I'm just getting anxiety. But when I went to the hospital, they realized that my numbers were so high that I literally had to have a procedure where they stopped my heart to restart my heart again so that it can pick up a normal rhythm. Imagine the doctor coming to you to tell you that's the procedure that they have to get ready to do to you.
Yeah. How did that affect you mentally?
Oh, you know how they say your life flashed before you?
Yes.
I thought that was always a cliche until the moment the doctor said that to me. And I was like, what if I don't wake back up from you restarting my heart? And then all the things went through my head, right? So very scared moment for me, to be transparent. It was something that had to be done to slow down the rhythm of my heart.
Has that changed your outlook on life, like how you live your day-to-day life?
Absolutely. I take no day for granted. People say, I live my best life, but I literally live today for today. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a planner. So I have set goals and things of that nature. But in the moment, in the day, I live for today and what I can accomplish in that day, because we never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
I love that. I love that. So, as a publisher and a marketing professional, how do you decide what books to publish and who you will work with?
Great question. So I work with a publishing company called Victorious U Press. So they are a religion, Catholic-based publishing company. So we do non-fictional books over on our end, but I'm also a graphic designer for a fictional company called Out of the Box Press, right? So I get the best of both worlds when I have to refer someone to a publishing company. And then, of course, being able to select the co-authors that worked with me in the book, man, the stories that these ladies are sharing,
Yeah.
I would have no one else, in this book. You all made this book a complete success with your stories.
Well, thank you for that. So, as a woman of color, can you share any particular obstacles that you have overcome and any valuable lessons that you've learned along the way in this different type of businesses that you are involved with?
Absolutely. Great question. For me, and what I teach my clients as well is most people say the most beautiful thing you could walk into a room with is your smile. My slogan is the most beautiful thing we can walk into a room with is our confidence. And I walk into every room confident, knowing that, whatever is going on within that room, I belong in the room with you. And I'm willing to share the table with you, share the room with you, but I will not let anyone make me feel less than when I walk into a room.
How did you develop that confidence?
Funny enough, very short story. I was raised by my grandmother, and I was born in the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. And as I was living with my grandmother at the time, there were kids who were lighter complexion than I am, and they will always tease me, right? And they were like, "Oh, you're so dark. Why are you so dark?" And made me feel inferior to the color of my skin. I thought I was, not belonging, right? I was a mismatch to the friends I was with. So one day they did say that to me and definitely hurt my feelings. I was 12 or 13 at the time. So I ran into my home, and my grandmother was like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "No one wants to, I don't like the complexion of my skin. I want to be lighter. How do I get lighter?" And I started to, really cry. At that moment, she lifted my head up because, I bowed my head and cried, and she lifted my head up and she said, "You are beautiful. You are our Black beauty." Yeah. And from then on, I've always carried around the name Black Beauty. And you can't tell me that my Black is not beautiful because of the encouraging words that came from my grandmother. I became that person knowing that my Black means something, my skin means something, and I should embrace how I look because I was made and created by God in His image and likeness.
I love that. That's beautiful. So what are you hoping that our readers will walk away with and take from the book?
From our anthology, I'm really hoping, and I know all of the stories that we share, we talk about our journey through our ailments and how are we surviving on a day-to-day basis, or even the signs and symptoms in the early stages, right? So it's not like my book is for over 40 or over 50. Like, I got diagnosed with high blood pressure at the age of 20, so it was a very young age. And I know your story is talking about at a young age as well. Yeah. So I really want our readers to pick up our book just to even know what the signs and symptoms are. And some of us were misdiagnosed so many times by these providers that it was crazy to me when I read those stories, right? Mm-hmm. So we can definitely learn from signs and symptoms. We can definitely learn from you are not alone in your ailments or in your illness. And you have a group of 17 of us that you can reach out to talk about how are we getting through our day. So that's why I want to make sure it's not really for a certain age group of readers. It is definitely for everyone who is interested in understanding how do we get through our day, even if we don't feel like it.
Some individuals have been misdiagnosed. I think also, too, the book is going to show you how to be an advocate for yourself or for that loved one.
Absolutely. Yes. I know some stories are like, no, my headache is not just because I got stressed out today. My headache is because some kind of sinus infection is going on, and I'm telling you what's going on within my own body. And we're teaching people to advocate for themselves as well and get second opinions or
Right.
thirds. Yep.
Yeah, that's important. So for the individual that may be listening that would love to write, what advice would you give to someone about the writing and the planning process?
Just start writing. I don't care if it made a whole lot of sense when the idea came into your head. Write down the topic, the title, the subtitle, the chapters. Just write as much as you can. We can do the editing later, right? We can make the story make sense later. But if you have a topic or a story, because we all have a story to share, right? We all have, either we can teach something, we can empower someone, or we can, give a self-help book. We have something in us, right? So we want to make sure that you don't have to think about, oh, I wonder if somebody's going to read this book. Yes, trust me, there's someone who's going to read your book. So just start writing. Yeah. Don't think of your commas and your periods and your spaces, and no, just write. Get the journal and write. We can put all the commas and the spaces later. I just need you to put something on paper so we can get started.
I love that. So your business, My Sister Keeper, why that name? How did it come about?
Of course, we were originally going to be My Sister's Keeper because, of course, we wanted to work with collective women in business. However, I took off the S because for me, I work with one sister at a time, and together we form a sisterhood. So that's why I took off the S out of sister. So I'm just My Sister Keeper because I work with one individual lady at a time in business. And again, my they always say, Nadia, your business is like a one-stop shop for an entrepreneur.
It is.
Because if I asked you to design something, you would try to figure out a way how to design it and get it done, right? I really try to be that one-stop shop because when you're starting a business, picking your graphic designer is very important because that person has to understand your brand, right? So I have several clients that I work with. They have me on pro bono on a monthly basis. They'll say, Nadia, I need a flyer. This is the information. And because I know their brand, their colors, their style, because everybody has different styles, right? They can just give me the information for the flyer and I can design it exactly how they want it without having too many edits to do for them, right? So having a graphic designer is very important in your business if that is not your skill set, right? So everybody has to understand that they have to stay in their own wheelhouse, right? For example, I cannot publish a book. I don't know how to upload to Amazon and get you on the bestseller campaign. That's why we have the publishing company. But to get you the book cover that's going to be uploaded, then you talk to me, right? That's why, most people come and work with me because I'm able to understand your brand. We form more than just a business relationship. We form a bond, we form a sisterhood, we form a networking community. So that's why we are different from just a regular branding and marketing agency.
So you are on the Fearless Friday podcast. How are you living a fearless life?
Wow, great question. I am living boldly and fearlessly by doing what I love. And I know my purpose. I know my purpose is to serve, to serve others because I was telling one of my friends the other day, some nights if I'm not able to sleep, because of course all kind of graphic designs are going on in my head and I'm like, Lord, please let me get to sleep. But I scroll on, social media just to calm the brain down. And I'm like, oh, I did that flyer. Oh, I did that flyer. Oh, I did that logo. Right. And there are people who, my graphics are changing their trajectory in their family because they started a business and they're able to advertise their business professionally, right? So I understand that my mission or my goal in life is really to serve, and that's my purpose. And that's what gives me joy. When I tell you, just yesterday, one of my clients was a brand new author, and we did her landing page, and she, I did the reveal for her, and she cried. I'm like, what is wrong? Is it? I promise I can fix it, or what? To do? Like, what's going on? She was like, the fact that I'm a new author, I see my book, in real life. And now there's a landing page that people could come and purchase my book. I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like for the very first time in my life, I can say this is my business and you have helped me start my business. So that's always what gives me pleasure to work with my clients.
So aside from the book coming out, what else are you working on and what else are you looking forward to in 2024?
Absolutely. So, of course, as a visionary, I couldn't just, write the book and let us go far, right? We have our book launch is going to come up right at the end of February. In March, we're going to be showing our documentary series. So we're getting ready to show the documentary of all of these beautiful ladies sharing their stories. In April, we have a health summit that's going to happen in Maryland. So I'm going to give more details about that. So we're busy. We're busy over here just by this one book project. We are going to stay busy and stay visible for a long period of time.
Talk a little bit more about the Health Summit in April.
Of course. So not only did I want the ladies to share let us share our story, we need to educate, right? Educating the public about our diagnosis, about what we are going through on a day-to-day basis. Again, giving you signs and symptoms. Of course, I'm going to have health vendors that are going to be there who, of course, if you're like me, when the doctor gives you this big pill to take, you're like, Lord, why the pill, Lord? I know there is something else that I can do other than swallowing this pill. So we do have some herbalists that will come out and teach us about different types of herbs. I'm trying to find, of course, doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners to really come out and educate us, right? Because we as individuals could just educate us based on what we know. Like I can teach you about high blood pressure and what it can do. But I want the doctor to really talk about how to catch it at first. Because at young times, I was like, oh, yeah, I just have a headache. It's okay. I'll pop a Tylenol and I'll keep going. If I did, take my blood pressure seriously at that age, at 20, I wouldn't be where I am today, where like I'm taking 3 and 4 pills just to keep my blood pressure numbers down, right? So the Health Summit is going to be very educational, informative, interactive, because we're going to be in person and we're going to be doing a lot of networking with ourselves. And I'm getting ready to tie in our book launch and signing with the summit. So we're going to have a book launch and summit all at the same time.
So where can individuals connect with you, support you, and sign up to attend the summit?
Absolutely. So you can definitely get all the information you need about My Sister Keeper is on my website. And that is my sister, no S, mysisterkeeper.biz, B-I-Z. And it has my events tab. It has my book tab. It has all of my social media pages. So just the one location and you will find everything about me at mysisterkeeper.biz.
I love it. Thank you so much for being with us today and for everything that you're doing.
And thank you for having me on this amazing podcast. I know you international, so our voices are being heard all over the place. So I'm super excited. And again, thank you for your yes in joining our anthology together. I am definitely thankful for you.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to leave a 5-star review and share with a friend or two. If you're not already following me on social media, come join the Fearless community at MRD Empowerment Solutions on Facebook and Instagram, or visit my website, MaryannRiveraDannert.com. I'll catch you next week with a new episode, and remember that you are a priority and you matter.